red-hot Habs welcome in the Detroit Red Wings for a battle of Atlantic Division supremacy. Jake Evans, Kirby Dach, and Patrick Laine were all back skating with the team today. They're all inching closer to their respective returns, but it's Kaiden Guhle who's finally going to be making his long-awaited return. He takes Strubal's spot in the lineup, forms a pairing with Arbor Xhekaj, gonna be a heavy-hitting pair. The rest of the lineup stays the same. Nick Suzuki's 500th career game. He's the 6th player in history to play 500 games without ever missing one to start his career. Jacob Fowler gets a start in net for Montreal, and you get the sense that this 3-goalie rotation thing is likely going to come to an end soon, and it's looking more and more like Jakub Dobeš is going to be the one sent to Laval. Fowler's been just too good to send back. Gibson starts in net for the Wings. The energy at the start of this one was absolutely electric. It had all the buzz and speed of a first-round playoff game between two really strong teams. Suzuki had an incredible look on a breakaway in the first 30 seconds but put it wide. Fowler was tested early by Marco Kasper. There were very few whistles and the pace was just unreal. Demidov and Kapanen broke away on a 2-on-1 and Kapanen came within inches of giving the Canadiens an early lead. Detroit came right down the other way and this time it was Lucas Raymond's turn to come within inches as he rang one off the post to the left of Fowler. Alexandre Carrier ends up taking the first penalty of the game. He gets called for holding his stick and the Red Wings get their first chance on the man advantage. Detroit held the puck in the Canadian zone for almost a full 2 minutes and they directed 5 or 6 shots towards the net that all went wide with the exception of a Lucas Raymond wrister off a turnover. That was ripped right off the post again. 2 posts in just 3 minutes for him. Brendan Gallagher takes his turn putting the Canadiens a man short with a bad high sticking penalty. Puts the Wings right back on the power play. Canadiens penalty kill did a much better job the second time round at clearing the puck from the zone. Highlighted by one really nice blocking clear by Suzuki. And this one didn't slow down at all despite the shot totals being incredibly low. I mean, Detroit was only leading in shots 4-2 through 15 minutes. This was an extremely exciting first period. Montreal and Detroit traded opportunities for the final 5 minutes of the periods, with the Wings ending the period with the edge in play, largely due to those 2 power play opportunities. And Montreal's going to want to stay out of the box for the second period and prevent their rhythm from being broken up by penalties like it was in the first. It looked to me like the Canadiens' defense pairings were a bit shuffled. I'm not sure if it's because of all the penalties or if it's because Marty St. Louis was trying to get Guhle more than just third pairing minutes. But the Habs were a bit lucky to get out of that period without giving up a goal. They dodged a bullet being able to survive those 2 Detroit power plays, and they looked to generate more offensive opportunities in the second. The Wings start the second period quite effectively, and they manage to hem the Canadiens into their own zone. This time, Alexandre Texier takes a penalty for holding, puts the Wings onto their 3rd consecutive power play. Montreal's really playing with fire at this point. Jacob Fowler makes his best save of the night, sprawling out and covering as much of the ice as possible. He robs Larkin in close. The Habs PK survives a 3rd time. The Habs just have to stay out of the box. Montreal gets horribly unlucky with a brutal bounce off the end boards right as Fowler's heading out to play the puck. The puck comes right out in front onto the stick of Lucas Raymond. There's absolutely nothing the Canadiens could do. A total fluke goal. And while the goal itself was lucky, the Wings definitely earned the 1-0 lead up to that point. They'd been the better team, they generated the power plays, they generated the chances. The Habs have to reset, stay out of the box so they can generate some kind of rhythm and get their momentum going offensively because their best players have barely been able to come onto the ice from being shorthanded so often. And after the Wings goal, the Habs do control the puck well, they cycle it effectively. The defense generates a few chances from outside and eventually the Red Wings take a penalty. This time it's Finney getting called for holding the stick. Montreal goes to the power play. They generate 4 pretty nice looking chances on the power play. A couple of one-timers by Demidov, a shot in the slot by Kapanen, a big one-timer by Beauduc. But Gibson was there for the Wings and he kept the Canadiens off the scoreboard. And the Canadiens immediately commit an unforced error. They get dinged for too many men just after that Red Wings penalty expired. And Detroit's 4th power play opportunity doesn't last long. That's because a Dylan Larkin shot appears to take a deflection, find its way in behind Fowler, and doubles the Red Wings' lead to 2 goals. The Canadiens really only have themselves to blame at this point. They've given the Red Wings 4 power plays, they've only earned 1 themselves. Their best skaters have hardly had any time on the ice because they've been too busy killing penalties all game long. The good news for the Canadiens is they've been in this situation before this season, and they know how to come back. Now, can they do it against a team as skilled as Detroit? The Habs do generate chances, but too often they're putting their shots wide of the net, and when they do get the shots on target, John Gibson is just on his game and coming up with really, really nice saves. So many opportunities for the Canadiens didn't even result in shots on target, and their lack of execution really felt similar to the first 2 periods against Tampa, when they just couldn't buy a goal. So the Canadiens leave themselves with just 20 minutes to erase a 2-goal deficit against the Detroit Red Wings. It's definitely possible, but it's no small task. Montreal managed to stay out of the box for the last 8 minutes of the second period, and they took complete control of the game. Now, if you're the Canadiens, go into the third and repeat that effort if you want any chance of coming back. The only player who I'd say had a really bad game in my mind was Brendan Gallagher. Unfortunately, all game long, his stick was where offensive opportunities went to die. He took a bad penalty early in the first that killed their momentum. Add that to the fact that he's not a good defender in his own zone. I don't see what positives he's bringing to this team anymore that make him deserving of playing every single game and getting power play time. As soon as one of these injured guys like Doc or Evans gets back, Gallagher absolutely has to sit. But it's Detroit who comes out in the third period and immediately makes the Canadiens pay. A defensive zone breakdown leaves the far side of the ice completely open. A loose puck finds its way to Alex DeBrincat, who wires a slap shot by Jacob Fowler. This is not the kind of start to the period Montreal wanted. The Habs go down 3-0, but we know these guys fight, and the opportunities just started to come fewer and farther between for the Canadiens as the period went on. The game began to devolve into more of a physical contest, with the Canadiens losing focus on the offense and attacking, and instead just focusing on throwing as many big hits as possible. And while it was enjoyable, and some of the hits were really nice, big, clean plays, the Canadiens allowed their frustration to show. They ended up taking another penalty. They were just throwing 2 minutes away at a time and running out of time to come back in this one. This game was just really unfortunate for the Canadiens because they didn't play particularly poorly. They just lacked discipline, which put them in an early hole as a result of taking bad penalties, and then they couldn't capitalize on their opportunities to get back into the game. The Wings' 3-goal lead never really felt threatened. The Habs did pull Fowler with just under 5 minutes to go, and they threw a ton of shots towards Gibson, but the guy was a brick wall tonight, and the Wings finally ended up putting one into the empty net with about a minute to go, and this one ended at 4-0 for the Detroit Red Wings. A result to forget for the Canadiens, but not a game in which they can afford to ignore and not learn from their mistakes. As far as bright spots goes with Montreal, Arbor Jacki stood out in a very nice way. He had 8 hits on the night. He was physical. He was all over the ice throwing big hits. He was efficient offensively. He had good touches, and he was really smart defensively. Not the end of the world for the Canadiens to lose a game. Disappointing to lose one that was so important in the standings. They have a pretty favorable matchup coming up against Vancouver. They have to take advantage. Anyway, you guys, that's going to be it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you made it to the end of the video, please consider giving us a like and a subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Take a look at the Discord server. The link is in the description. And have a great night, guys.